Well, me as Taher, I am 37 years old, 38 years old. I'm a businessman. I'm a male. I have certain condition. I come from a certain geography, from a certain ethnical background. And these are my 37 years of my life. Through my DNAs and everything, I'm also conditioned. So my conditioning may go back a few thousand years, through all the way to my reptilian memories. However, I'm also a molecular composition. I have hydrogen atoms in my body, I have oxygen atoms in my body. So on a chemical, atomical scale, I am 14 billion years old. But you see, I don't have that level of life started with simple atoms dancing with the idea of this creative movement that atoms come together to make simple molecules. Somehow, those molecules, you think there is no life. David Bohm said, look, I think we have to change the name of this quantum mechanics to quantum organics. There is totality, there's life in the universe.
Quantum organics.
Quantum organics, that there's this creative movement that is constantly creating. But I look at my life, I'm stuck. I'm stuck with being a male, I'm stuck with being a businessman. I'm stuck with this war that I have with my neighbor inside myself. Most of us are not even aware of the quality of our relationship we have with our surroundings. And so the cosmological self is the self that is in a creative state of mind, just like the universe is. And
well,
its
in fact,
history...
If what you're saying is true, this cosmological self, that each of us have that aspect to our being, if you will, and if what John Bell was saying is true, this non-locality aspect of the totality, that means that when I do that, it affects every aspect of the totality of the universe.
Absolutely.
Which means that if I strike you, I'm striking all living creatures in one form or another.
And you have the consciousness to talk of this, absolutely.
Exactly, and to see it.
To see it.
What we don't have the capability of doing is to understand why we're doing that and why war has become an aspect of human nature, if you will, which was what we talked about before. So that what's going on in Afghanistan now, when one man kills another, he's killing life. And as you know, I spent many years with the Hopi Indians. I understand that principle, that we are connected on a life basis. And this Hopi elder that I was with him one day when his grandchild came from school, and they were going to dissect a frog. And the child came home crying because he told his grandpa that they wanted, and Grandpa David said, you tell your teacher that you cannot separate life. Once you kill a living being, their life has gone within it. So the whole aspect of it, there may be some scientific basis to doing that, but to a child, especially a Hopi child, he was killing life.
Absolutely. Now, we see what we're doing, this wars that is ongoing.
Yes.
These thoughts that come, that destroy ourselves, our children, as you mentioned. This thought is like a virus spreading into these hardwares, these human minds. And instead of dealing with the virus, understanding what is this sort of fragmentation, what does it come from? We decide to kill the hardware. Normally, in computers, if there's a virus on a computer, you deal with the virus. You don't go and kill every single computer that has a virus on it. You do an antivirus and you try to clean it up.
Well, I've been known to kill a few of my computers, but to no effect.
So the human being is the greatest sacred ritual of the universe.
Well, there's an interesting word to introduce, sacred.
It is. Just by being human, just by being this total, you see the power to be conscious of this totality. And if you could move, if you could have this silence, this space in your mind to feel this totality, what a life that would be. Sometimes I sit down and I look my fingers and my hands and I say, this is 14 billion years old. Now I know my eyes capture the photon of the sun. These are retina molecules. I know the plants have that. They were the first ones to discover the technology of capturing light from the sun. It came through us, through them. So I have a relationship with the sun, with the moon, with the earth. This earth is my mother. I am this earth speaking.
Okay, now I'm going to challenge you.
Please allow me to continue if you don't mind.
But then I'm going to challenge you, so
please.
be prepared.
So what I'm saying is, I look at this totality, and I say, the life that I'm living, this shallow, petite life, full of struggle, full of conflict, full of misery, and this grand story of cosmogenesis, of creation, there is something wrong.
Right.
There must be more meaning to my life than this alienation that I feel. And then I go back and I study David Bohm and I study Krishnamurti. And of course now there are great writers, and I feel privileged to be born after the great writings of people like Taylor de Chardin, Thomas Berry.
But you see, even Chardin had introduced the notion of God. With brilliant as he was, there was the notion of God. And that there are some people who are suggesting that that too is a concept. And now,
no, I understand, but his concept of us, his concept of cosmogenesis, that we're part of this totality, is actually quite strong.
I understand
in that sense, I mean it.
My problem with all of this is that it's an idea, a brilliant idea, but it's an idea.
It's an idea, absolutely.
In fact, the Big Bang Theory is an idea.
It's an idea.
We don't know that that's what happened. And as I understood the essence, if you will, of the dialogues that these two men had over a period of almost 30 years, was we had to understand that most of our understanding of what life is comes to us through concepts. And as a result, as Krishnamurti put it, we are second-hand human beings. Whatever learning we have, it still doesn't get us past the miserable human beings that we are. How do we do that? And as far as I could understand, as I understood what these two men were saying, is that there is a way. There is a way, perhaps, to go beyond the thinking process.
That there's something beyond thought.
That to go beyond it, that there's some way that the human being can, in fact, change it all by going beyond limits, as David said, going beyond the thinking process. And that is the essence of all of their dialogues. And in fact, you've seen this presentation that I put together regarding this, and I know this for a fact, that these two men were not naive enough to think that what they had to say would be understood by enough people to change the course of history, where it appears that we're going to self-annihilate ourselves like lemmings running off a cliff, forgive me. So in spite of the fact that perhaps there would not be enough people to change that course, they still had to communicate what they had to say because it was the right thing to do. Because it was the right thing to do. And that, to me, was the love that both of them had for creation.